What is going on, everybody? Been a diehard Pistons fan since '03 and starting to get cautiously optimistic about this Pistons team. The Detroit Pistons just took an incredibly tough loss to the Houston Rockets. Final score 101-99 for a 2-point loss. In this video, we are going to go through and go over a few of the key performers that I want to highlight. Just talk about the game as a whole, what happened down the stretch, where I think things could have went right and where things did go wrong, and just do a general recap. In case you guys are wondering why this video is a little bit late, I actually ended up getting to go to tonight's game. Was really fun despite the loss. Was the first time I was able to get over to the Little Caesars Arena this season, so really enjoyed my time, but obviously took a little while to get home and a little while for me to be able to prepare this video and get it all ready to go. So the first player that I do want to highlight is going to be Cade Cunningham. Cade finished the game tonight with 26 points to go along with 8 rebounds and 9 assists. Of course, his triple-double streak dies at 3. That's okay. He was 10 of 21 of the field, 2 of 4 on the three-point line, and finished the game with 4 turnovers, which actually is a step in the right direction, despite that still being too many, probably. Especially a few of the turnovers in particular were not that awesome to watch. Cade, I felt like, played a pretty okay game. It was pretty hard to watch him get dunked on by Jalen Green just because of the history between those two players, but after that third quarter, he did really kind of turn it up, and the favorite play of Cade from tonight's game was when he blocked Sengun at the rim. He wasn't able to keep himself in bounds. He was just barely out of bounds, but it stopped 2 points in a very critical time, and it really reminded me of the game-winning block that he had against the Hawks just the other night. So anytime you're getting that weak side shot blocking from your point guard, that's awesome to see. So I would say Cade had a pretty okay game despite the loss. It was not perfect, but I would say it was a relatively good game for Cade, and definitely no concerns there in the grand scheme of things. So the second player that I do want to highlight is going to be Malik Beasley. Beasley finishes the game off the bench with 15 points. He was 5 of 12 from the floor and 4 of 9 from the three-point line. During the third quarter, the Pistons went down by 8 points, which turned into 10, 12 points, and the way they were able to get back into it was by Hardaway shooting a couple threes and knocking them down, and Beasley hitting a couple as well. I really could have put Tim Hardaway here in this position too. I think both of them deserve credit because the shooting ability of those two were what got us back into this game and made it competitive. But Beasley, with the better box score stats than Hardaway, had to give him the nod here tonight. The third player that I do want to highlight is Beef Stew. He finishes the game with 16 points and 8 boards, filling in for the injured Jalen Duren. 7 of 9 to the floor, +2 on the plus-minus. And I thought that he did as good of a job as he could have done guarding Sengun. Tough matchup. All the credit to Sengun. He is a good center. I thought Stu was physical with him and did a good job rolling to the rim on the offensive end. Was able to score over him a few times, threw down a couple dunks on the roll. Felt like it was a pretty good game for Stu, but the presence of Jalen Duren is still very well missed. And that's the next thing I want to talk about, to kind of talk about where we could have, done better and potentially had, won this game before it came down to the wire, and then we'll get into what happened down the wire. The Pistons gave up way too many offensive rebounds in the fourth quarter. The Pistons as a team were out-rebounded by the Rockets. 46 rebounds for the Pistons, 53 for the Rockets. For the Rockets, they had 17 offensive rebounds, which is just way too many. Jalen Duren, I don't think allows that to happen if he is on the floor. Whatever you got to say about Jalen Duren, the dude is a very, very good rebounder, and it will be nice once he gets back. I'm hoping that he is back as soon as next game, because we really, really do miss him out there, especially on the glass. And then also tonight, we finished the game with 18 turnovers, and they were not a pretty 18 turnovers. There was a lot of those turnovers that we had talked about in previous videos where they're turning the ball over 30 feet away from the hoop, live ball possessions for the other team to go the other way in transition and get walk-in dunks and layups. So the turnovers and the rebounding, I think, were the reason why the Pistons weren't able to really ever break out a big lead in this game. And then once we got down to the final stretch, after Beasley and Hardaway knocked in a couple threes, got us within striking distance, it was just a hard watch because, man, oh man, we had our chances. So after Cade got to the free throw line with just less than 10 seconds left on the clock, we were down by a couple points. Cade makes his first free throw. We need to go ahead and intentionally miss to get a rebound. And we actually are able to do that because Cade does a great job of just throwing the ball off the front of the rim super quick. I wasn't even really paying attention because I thought he was going to get the ball, gather it, take a second, and throw it off the rim and purposely miss. But as soon as the ref gave Cade the ball, it was like bang, bang, just right off the front of the rim. And that gave us an opportunity, which led to Tobias getting the ball in the paint, and he gets fouled. Now we're down 2. Tobias is going to the line. All we have to do is just knock in these 2 free throws to go into overtime. And Tobias misses the first free throw, which effectively ended the game. So he had a chance after that to go ahead and do another purpose miss for the free throw, but that one wasn't as successful. We actually almost got an opportunity, but there was like 1 second left on the clock and there was nothing really there. So that missed free throw from Tobias really just hurt, because these are the type of games where it would be super helpful if we can win, because right now, if we're looking at potentially being a play-in team, these are the ones that can come back to haunt us. It's really hard to zoom out and look at where we were last year and compare it to this year and try and put everything into perspective. But the one thing I will say is that this team got back into this game after they were down 12 in the third quarter because of the shooting of Malik Beasley and Tim Hardaway Jr. And the 2023-24 Pistons of last year, this game would have been over after they went down 12. I am so certain of it. This game would have been over when they went down 12 in the third quarter. So it's tough. It's tough because, we were able to fight back into it and give ourselves a chance, but those are the ones you really want to win, especially if you're going to think about making the play-in. At that point, every win's going to count, and we can definitely win games like that. Jaden Ivey was a bit of a hot topic coming out of the arena because he did not play a good game relative to how he has played rest of the year. I'm not going to take this opportunity to dog on Ivey despite him finishing the game with 6 turnovers and only 8 points, because talked about it in plenty of other videos. I'm incredibly impressed with how Ivey has played this year. I think that he has taken a step and a leap as a player and as somebody who I really think highly of, and he played a bad game. It's just point blank period. I mean, even the box score will tell you that. I was there, was able to watch it, so I don't need to read the box score, but in case you guys are curious, he was 4 of 15 from the field to go along with 6 turnovers, 4 fouls, and only 8 points. Definitely Ivey's worst game of the season, but not going to take this opportunity to dog on him or dog on Tobias for missing the free throw that could have sent this thing into overtime, because just got to move on from this one. I think that there was a lot of good takeaways from this. I think that the shooting from Hardaway and Beasley is something that we can really appreciate, because that was one of the main reasons we were able to get back into this game. And the weak side block from Cade was a great moment. That was a callback to the game against the Hawks. There was good things to take away from this. I know nobody wants moral victories, all things considered, because of what we've been through as fans over the past few years. But if you guys were looking for good takeaways, those were kind of a couple of the things that come top of mind for me. So, indifferent about this game. Definitely sad to see them lose, especially my first time in the Little Caesars Arena this year. Gonna have to get back over there and watch them win one. So hopefully that can happen soon. Let me know what you guys thought of this game, and I'll catch up with you guys soon.